today's session, we shall continue with the poem A Thing of Beauty. As in the previous video, we read up till the first stanza of the poem. I had discussed about the background, significance of the title, and the theme of the poem. After all these studies, we learned that in Keats' definition, beauty is nature. He confesses that nature is the source of ultimate happiness and inner peace. No doubt, the beauty of nature is eternal and never fades, but keeps on increasing. Taking over the same thoughts, let's continue with our poem. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Now let's try to understand the meaning of the certain words that has been used in the given lines. As in poetry, the words have an implied meaning than that of their literal meaning. In the given lines, the word morrow means sunrise or morning. The words wreathing a flowery band means to bind or form a garland. The poet in these lines communicates that every morning when we wake up after a sound sleep, we find ourselves connected with the nature, similar to those flower bands that we read. In other words, the applied meaning here is, in order to experience the bountiness of nature, we need not to go far. Just open the window and you will experience the beautiful morning or the sunrise. You will feel connected with the nature. This morning teaches us to give fresh start to our life and set new goals and target. The sunrise also teaches us never to give up. So the sunrise has a very significance or importance in our life, as it gives an important life lesson as well, that is of punctuality. So in short, we can say that nature acts as an educator as well. Now note the poetic devices which have been used in the given lines. Are we reading is an example of inversion. So what is inversion? Inversion is used in a sentence when we reverse the order of the word. Words such as, instead of saying the blue ocean, we say the ocean blue. Next, reading a flower band. Now these words are used as a metaphor in the given lines. In spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways, Meda searching. Now note that the word spite here means to be upset. Despondence refers to the feeling of losing courage and hope. Inhuman dearth of noble natures means lack of goodness or the values that exist in human. Over is actually an Old English term for over. So over darkened ways refers to the vices that dominates humans. And meant for our searching refers to the result of our own action. So overall we can say that the poet in these lines communicates that the present world has reached to a critical and a hopeless stage. People have become self-centered, corrupt, ruthless, and are in pursuit of evil ways. Their life has become pathetic, and it is all due to our own action and deeds. In other words, the poet is trying to hint on the aftermath influence of Industrial and French Revolution that led to the change of human mindset. Now note the poetic devices which has been used in the given lines. Noble nature is an excellent example of alliteration. Alliteration, as we all know, is used when a repetition of the same sound occurs in the recurring words. So here we can see in the noble nature, and sound is being repeated again and twice. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. Now the word pall in general means as a curtain, but here in the poem, it refers to the self-realization and is an example of metaphor. The word dark spirits here is an example of symbolism. The word dark spirits in literature itself connotates the idea of evil or lack of knowledge and does not relate to any color. So the poet expresses the idea, connecting with the previous lines, that while facing turbulences and challenges of our life, sometimes we are misguided on wrong path. Hence, in those difficult times, some shape of beauty or objects of beauty removes the pall or cover and guides us to the right path. In other words, nature brings a self-realization of our wrong deeds and like an instructor guides us in every step of life and corrects our action from time to time. Now kindly note the poetic devices which have been used in the given lines. Number 1, some shape. It is an example of alliteration. As you can see, the S sound is frequently being repeated. The next word, the word Paul, is an example of metaphor. Further we read in the poem, such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shadowy boon for simple sheep, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in. In the given lines, the poet uses several images of nature, such as the sun, the moon, the old and young trees. All these are elements of or part of nature. The word boon means blessing. The word simple sheep refers to the common creature, or is a biblical word that refers to Christ, who is a symbol of forgiveness and sacrifice. The poet says that all these images of nature, such as the sun, the moon, the trees, are like blessings for every common creature. All we need to have is those senses so that we can perceive and appreciate the beauty of nature. Even the mesmerizing green valley covered with daffodils spiritually heals us and provides inner peace. Now note the poetic devices used here. The word old and young is an example of oxymoron. So what is oxymoron? Oxymoron is a figure of speech which is used when two opposite words are used in the same lines. And clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid-forest brake, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Now let's understand the words which are given in the lines. Clear rills refers to the stream of clear water. Covert means displayed. Against is actually an Old English word for the word against. Since the poet belongs to the Old English period, that is why he uses archaic words in his writing. The word brake means thickets or bushes. Rich here means dense. Sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms means the strong scented rose flowers which are scattered everywhere. So we notice that the poet further carries on the description of the beautiful things in these lines. Keats explains that the cool and the clear streams provides us relief in the hot season that quenches our thirst. Even the bushes growing in the forest and the beautiful blooming musk rose with a beautiful fragrance adds grandeur and vitality to nature. All these beauties that the nature offers us gives an enriching experience and brings us more close to the nature. Now in the given lines, the word cooling covert is an example of alliteration. And such too is the grandeur of the dunes we have imagined for the mighty dead, all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens' brink. Now let's understand the meaning of the words. Grandeur means charm or splendor, dooms, death or destruction. The word mighty dead refers to the heroes and those martyrs who sacrificed their life for a noble cause. And fountain of immortal drink here refers to the idea that the beauty of the earth is everlasting and ceaseless. Pouring unto us from the heavens brink means descending from the heaven. So, on the whole, the idea that the poet wants to draw here in this stanza is, since our childhood, we had been listening about the stories of valor and courage of the heroes and martyrs who sacrifice their life for noble cause and reason, embracing death. Each of the stories of these heroes and martyrs has a similar charm or beauty that exists in nature, as these stories continues to inspire not only the present generation but to the upcoming or future generation as well. These legendary stories will be profoundly regarded and cherished in our heart, just like those exquisite uh, experience that we feel when we are beside nature. And lastly, the poet says, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. Now note that in these last couplets, the poet compares nature's compassion and largeness with the fountain of immortal drink that is sent from heaven. In other words, the poet considers nature's beauty as immortal and as an incredible gift to mankind. Now let's understand the poetic devices which have been used in the given lines. The line, such too is the grandeur of the doom, is an example of metaphor. Next, mighty dead is an example of antithesis. And lastly, endless fountain of immortal drink is an example of metaphor, as the poet compares the eternal state of natural beauty with that of the fountain that provides immortal drink. John Keats, through his poem A Thing of Beauty, gives a strong message to its readers, as according to Keats, nature in itself is an incarnation of beauty. In fact, the real beauty lies in the arms of nature. Every element in nature has its own significance and teaches us the philosophy of life. Keats reflects that nature has the ability to transform life. With its therapeutic quality, it draws all the negativities from our life. And lastly, leaves with a message, respect nature and it will provide you with abundance. So I expect that the poem was all understood to you word by word. That's all in this video, students. Hope to join you in my next video with a new lesson. Till then, keep learning.